Ladies and gentlemen, Max Boyce.
Welcome back in Bradford, back in this heartland of rugby league. You know, tonight I feel like a missionary. I know there are Union fans here. I know that England have had a fairly successful season. And Wales have had only what we can call an indifferent season. But we'll be back. As sure as the flowers come to the trees, we'll be back. When we lost to England at Cardiff this year, I rang the Samaritans up in Swansea. And they've gone extra. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What really counts, lads, is being able to say that I was there. How many times have we from a great match who came away, or a great theatre concert, whatever, and said I was there? Mind you, there have been times I wish I hadn't been there. Twickenham last year, a bad day. And to think of that particular day, right, I nearly didn't go. I didn't have a ticket. But lucky, last minute, lucky, my uncle died. And he didn't want to go. He was just lying in the parlour, bored stiff. I said, aren't you going? He said, no. I said, why is that? He said, I'm going to watch it on the box. But the trouble was, the funeral was arranged the same time as the game. I couldn't go to both. I didn't have a ticket for the funeral, so I went to the match. So I thought, well, the least I could do now, right? The least I could do, when I come back, I'd ask how the funeral went. So when we come back on the Thursday, I said, how'd the funeral go? Oh, Max, it was a disaster. I said, what happened? He said they put Billy Williams in charge of the funeral arrangements. He said he's only on a YTS scheme. I said, well, what happened? He said, well, you know, your uncle was cremated. I said, no. He said, well, they were taking the ashes, he said. They were taking the ashes in the hearse up to the top of the mountain. He said, the little chapel, the little white chapel at the top of the mountain. They were taking the hearse and the ashes up to the top of the mountain, he said. And if you remember, he said, that weekend there was all black ice in the road. And he said, the back wheels of the hearse were skidding, he said. And Billy Williams used the ashes. I said, where is he now? He said, he's on the roundabout in Abergavenny. But I remember the morning of that game, right? We were going down in London. We went down, you know, past Trafalgar Square, and there was Nelson on his column checking if he had his ticket. And there was this chap at the bottom of Nelson's column selling pigeons. I think he knew the Welsh lads were up for the weekend. And I said, how much are they? He said, 50p each. I said, that's very reasonable. I'll have two, please. I'll give him £1. I said, where's my pigeons? He said, them two of you, as he said. And then we went down, right? We went down New Bond Street, right? Past all these expensive clothes shops. All these New Bond Street and all these like Cecil G's and Herbie Frogs, all these expensive shoes. And me and Billy were just passing, right? And Billy said, there, Max, he said, look at the price of them shoes, he said. £412 for a pair of shoes, he said. Why, they're so expensive? He said, they haven't even got laces, he said. I said, they're crocodile shoes, Billy, that's why they're so expensive, they're crocodile shoes. I got to have a pair. I said, forget it, you can't afford it, forget it. But he couldn't forget it, right? And he saw this other pair then. Look at them, he said. I don't want them there. He said, look, them $11.99, I don't want them. But I persuaded him, try them on, right? And this chap's looking down his nose at him at all. He didn't want to sell them at all. And he was trying these cheap shoes on, Billy, and he said, they don't fit, he said. They don't fit. And this chap said, try it with the tongue out, sir. He said, you still don't fit, he said. Anyway, he couldn't, no, remember time. He had his mind on these expensive shoes he clocked up. I tell you what, Max, he said, when we go back home, he said, we'll go to Longleat. We'll go to the safari park in Longleat. He said, they got all sorts of animals there. They got rhinos, he said, and buffaloes, and like tigers. They're bound to have crocodiles. I said, they are, they've seen it in the brochure. He said, will you come with me? Oh, I said, all right. So the first Sunday we went home, we waited till the great doors of Longleat clanged shut. And Billy come prepared, right? He had these tins of cherry blossom boot polish. We would have used kiwi. But since we lost to the All Blacks, do you know, it's not the losing I ate. It's the BBC I ate. They keep showing it. Have you noticed that when you side loses, Bradford Northern or whatever, when they lose, and they keep showing it. And in the World Cup, when lads miss penalty goals and people miss putts in the open, they show it. I realise they have to show it. But what I never forgive them for, they show it in slow motion. And when we lost narrowly to New Zealand in 1978, 13-12, and Brian McKechnie in the last dying seconds, they showed him kicking a penalty that robbed Wales of a deserved victory. And they showed it live on Grandstand. They showed it at the end of Grandstand. They showed it on BBC Two Rugby Special. And there was Nigel Starmer-Smith. Right. And he showed it again, but on the Monday I had him when he was swinging his leg back in slow motion and ran behind the set, adjusted the horizontal hold and shifted the post over 6 inches. Yeah. I tell you what, we haven't lost an hour since we had a telly. Anyway, come back to the story. We blacked the fronts of our faces right on the backs of our hands. One more thing, Maxie said. We got to put stockings over our heads in case we were recognised. Mind you, we cocked her up a bit, because he fetched tights. And wherever he went, I went. I wouldn't mind if the guts set us right. Anyway, yes. Anyway, we made this raft out of old egg boxes and things, and down the river we sailed. We'd only gone about maybe, 8 miles. And we came to this fork in the river, so we split up. I kept the raft. I said another, maybe, I don't know, 800 meters downstream. What I heard away in this terrible screaming away in the distance. Ah! So I put the raft in reverse and back up the stream and sailed. And there was Billy in his clearing in the river amongst the decaying bulrushes, and his shirt had been ripped off his chest, and there were great claw marks on the side of his face. And there on the bank were 27 dead crocodiles. One on top of another, and he had one under his arm, a great beast of a thing, and he was whopping it in the snout with a big stick, whack, whack, and screaming, ah! I said, shut up, Billy, you'll wake everybody in the house. Oh, Max, he said, fed up, he said, this is the 28th that I've caught now, he said, and none of them got bloody shoes on, he said. And friends, that is a true story. I know, because I was there. And I was out in New Zealand back in the 70s. You have to look, you know, in these days we're not doing well. You have to look back at the great heady days of the 70s, which will return. And remember, right, there's a lake near Auckland, right? When the Lions were then said, there's a lake near Auckland, Hikatakahawa Pawahawa Takapawa Lake. And this challenge has been thrown out by New Zealand Airlines, right? For any man who could walk across the top of the water of Lake Hekatawahawa Takapawahawa Lake. We may show allegiance during this next bit. The three men who entered, from Wales, Gareth Edwards. From England, Billy Beaumont. And the other one to enter was the Pope. Well, now, I was surprised he'd entered. Well, he'd only had one cap. Anyway, yes. The first to go was Gareth Edwards. And he ran across the water, and he ran back. And all the Welsh rugby supporters were singing, Calon lan and found a yoni. Well done, Gareth. Well done, boy. And then Billy Beaumont went. He took the bandages off his head and his ears fell off. Billy trundled across. And he trundled back, and all the English rugby supporters were singing, Save your kisses for me. And then the Pope went. Now, fair play, he went halfway, lost his concentration, and then he went bloosh. And Billy Beaumont turned to Gareth and he said, Dear Gareth, you're a boy, I'm not telling him about the stepping stones. And Gareth Edwards said, What stepping stones? I can tell you this story now. With the problem with the World Cup, you know, you can't get tickets for love nor money. And this is the story, right? This is the story of my Uncle Will, right? You don't know my Uncle Will, do you? Well, anyway, he was a brilliant mind, right? And he'd never, ever missed a game at Cardiff. Never in his life ever missed an international. But this one particular game, right? He didn't have a ticket, right? But not to be outdone. He was such a mercurial mind, such an inventive brain. You know, some of the things he's invented, right? He invented a machine, right, that could cut ham so thin, it only had one side. So the fact he didn't have a ticket was not a problem at all, right? So what he did, he went to the game, right, dressed up as one of the band. The St. Albans brass band. He got a tunic, right? And then he went into the fluff of his Hoover and he made a busby, right? And he made a tuba out of tuba material, right? And he went up to the man with the turnstiles. He said, I'm in the band. He said, leave me in, I'm in the band. And the man with the turnstiles, coming in. He said, coming in. They've only played 3. He said, coming in. And he got in without a ticket. The trouble was, he told everybody else in the valley how we managed it. The next match, they all decided to do the same thing. There was absolute chaos. And what happened on that day? What happened on that day is retold in a story, retold in a legend called The Incredible Plan. There's a story that's told in the valleys, and I'll tell it as best as I can. It's the story of one William McGonagall Morgan and of his incredible plan. It all started off on a cold winter's night. When an owl hooted over the hill. So difficult to get staff these days. Anyway, it all started off on a cold winter's night. When the robin... I couldn't resist it. When an owl hooted over the hill. A night when the Rugby Club General Committee banned, signed, die their ticket set, my Uncle Will. Mind you, we was in the wrong. We knew all along there was no point in petitions or pickets. He was caught with this woman at the back of the stand with the club's allocation of tickets. Anyway, Will was signed Bandai. No, sorry, Will was... That's the first time you've laughed all night. Now, can you close your legs when you laugh? Anyway, this... Where are you from, lad? That explains it, Halifax. Anyway, this... I don't know where I am now because of you. Right. Anyway, Will was bad and signed eye. He broke down and cried. I've never seen a man in such sorrow. Because like Judas of old, he'd sold more than gold with the England and Wales game tomorrow. Then he had this idea. He'd go in disguise, and he had it all drawn up and planned. And he went to the game to his family's shame, dressed up as one of the St. Albans brass band. Family are you, are they? Back in the village, they all got to know, hey, make one for me, will you, they say. There was such a demand, he got a bit out of hand. He was making about 70 a day. Well, they made about 92,000. When the night shift was sent 2 till 10, the jigs were all changed, the tools rearranged, and they started an ambulance, men. Then they ran out of buttons and bandage, and policemen are next on the plans. Was A-shaped mid-refs with dark glasses, Alsatians, white sticks, and tin cans. Then production was brought to a standstill, and the union could quite understand when management tabled the motion. Things are getting a bit out of hand. I'll never forget the day of the match. The likes I'll ne'er see again. I can see them still coming over the hill, hundreds and thousands of men. Come on. Okay, 10-4. Okay, 10-4, give me a copy. Give me a copy, 10-4, the big roundabout, calling Big Bear. The refs came in 4 double-deckers. It was going exactly to plan, and the St. Albans band came in lorries, and the police in a Griffender van. It was then I saw Will for the first time, I was standing on the steps by the Grand. He was in a camel hair coat, dressed up as the goat, marching in front of the band. It was then this terrible accident happened. The roads were all slippy and wet. He was knocked down by a man in a green grocer van, and they took him to Davis the vet. Now, Davis the vet's a bit short-sighted. He said, I'm afraid it's his heart, but he wouldn't have lived longer even if he'd been stronger. His eyes are too far apart. The funeral was held on a Monday. It was the biggest I'd ever seen. The wreaths came in 4 double-deckers, and there was one from Prince Charles and the Queen. There were sprays there from 3,000 policemen, and one from the St. Albans Brass Band, and the bearers were those refs with Alsatians, dark glasses, white sticks, and tin cans. We sang at the graveside the oath's funeral hymns. We sang at the graveside the old funeral hymns, and we all went to comfort his son. What made him sad, he said, was that Dad had died not knowing we'd won. I couldn't sleep for most of that night. I kept thinking of what he had said. Dad had died not knowing we'd won. So I dressed and I got out of bed. And I walked again to that hillside, to that last resting place on a hill. It was all quiet. It was all quiet, save when I leant over the grave and I whispered, we hammered them, Will. And that story is told in the Bible. And I've told it as best as I can. It's the legend of one Will McGonagall Morgan and of his incredible lad. You're magic. Anyway, when we were rehearsing, when we were rehearsing for this tour, right, we were in this little pub in Swansea called the Dragon, right, and we were just, Peter and Paul and myself, and we were just there, and we were discussing what songs to sing and what arrangements and who's going to do them, and there were these lads, right, discussing organ transplants. How you get a new Yamaha. They were discussing how today, with modern medicine and technology, anything was possible. And this bloke in the corner, right, this bloke, Billy Jenkins, said, leave it there now, he said. Leave it there, he said. Leave it there, he said. I've had this glass eye now, he said, 40 years, he said. No one's done nothing for me. And fair play, it wasn't the best of glass, I think it is made out of the same stuff they give away in these shell garages. If he'd had another $3, he could have had a carriage clock. It was so embarrassing. He came in there, he was talking to Peter, looking at me, and Paul answered him. But when he was small, he was brilliant. On the glass eye, he was brilliant, right? We all wanted one, right? We did, because when we were small, we used to come home in the double-decker buses, last home on Saturday night from Neath, right? And he was great. Billy used to see if there's any room upstairs. He used to go... And he was moaning, and his mate right there, he said, leave it there now, Billy. He said, leave it there. Leave it there. He said, no, don't start about that eye again, he said. Don't start, he said. You're always moaning. I've told you all you've got to do, he said, is to go round to Singleton Hospital in Swansea. The world's leading authority in those sort of things is around there, he said. Go round and see him, he said. Go round and see Ranjit Singh. He was from Bradford. No. And he went round to see Ranjit, right? And he said, can you do something about my eye? No, not a problem. We can't be doing it. Now, I personally, I love Indian people, right? I think they're hard-working, industrious, and they're peace-loving people. But having noticed Indians, right? Having noticed, they're either brilliant surgeons, right? Or they're brilliant cricketers like Ravi Shastri, right? Or they work in Indian restaurants. Now, I went to a lot of them when I was up here, right? And I've got a theory. The only thing I got to get, they're slow serving you in some of them. I think that's why they ate me late, I think. And my mate's got a theory. He reckons some of them got a steel plate in the middle of their heads with 2 silver balls running about on the top of their heads. And before they serve it, they've got to get the balls through the holes. And there they are. Now then, what exactly are you wondering? Are you wondering now the chicken rogan got now? Or are you having chicken tikka and some papadum? What exactly? You won't be able to go to an Indian restaurant now. You're not thinking of me. You will. If you sat there, if you try not to, and you'll see one of them come in. Now then, can I stop? What you're laughing about is I can see your balls. No. Anyway, Billy went round to see Ranjit. Can you do something about my eye? Not a problem, we can't be doing it. But we'll first be having to have a donor. And he said, you mean like kebabs? No. No, you silly Billy. No. No, you'll be having to have another eye, another living, breathing sphere. And Billy said, well, haven't you got spares? No, my friend, we're not talking about a garage. You're having to have another eye. And Billy was he thought he could just go in and have one, right? He was so disappointed, right? He just went out to the hospital, right? And he got in his car and he just drove off into the night. It was a very misty night, but not as misty as it should have been. No. Anyway, he couldn't see because of this fog. He must be a draft. Anyway, and he couldn't see. And the fog was coming again. So he thought, okay, we haven't got much left. And he's, oh God, I can't see a thing now. And it's only mustard gas, you're all right. Anyway, the bloke in front said, boy, I'm going to clean pants and vest on. He drove his little car, and he waited for the fog to clear, right? And he drove into this pub, right? And he was just about to go in when he heard coming down behind him, down the steep mountain road, this motorbike coming about 90 miles an hour. Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! He crashed this bloke, right? He died, and he dragged this poor bloke out, right? And he'd had it, and he was just about to go into the pub to tell everybody what had happened, right? When the moon passed behind 2 great beech trees, and a moonbeam shafted down onto this poor bloke's face. It had come a very long way. And Billy noticed, oh, he's got lovely eyes. Pity to waste them. So he fetched this old spoon. Out of an old tin of Complan. And he took his own glass eye out and put it back in his place. Next morning, he went round to see Ranjit. Ranjit said, look, I got an eye. And Ranjit said, oh, aye. He said, can you do something now? Not a problem, we can't be doing it now. Not a problem, now we can't be doing it. And he did, they operated. And 6 weeks later, they were taking the bandages off. And there was Billy screaming, ah, no, 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 no. You turned him the wrong way. And then he opened his eyes, and he could see again. Oh, thanks, Ranj. Thanks. How can I thank you? How can I thank you? Not needing to be thanking me. Thank your country for letting me practice medicine. Not needing to be thanking me. And he went away. He was so happy. But as the months started to pass, his conscience started to bother him. And he began to lose sleep and to show signs of anxiety. And he began to think, was that bloke really dead? Or was he wandering the streets, keeping an eye out for him? The only thing to do, he went back to the same pub, right? He went back in a lovely clear night. This time he went in, and the barman said, I haven't seen Hugh here before, sir. Well, I have been here, he said. I was here on the 27th of September, he said. And the barman said, that was the night of the terrible accident. I know, he said, I know. Tell me, he said, was that bloke really dead? And the barman said, oh, yes, he was dead. Oh, thank God for that, Billy said. And the barman said, what do you mean, thank God? And Billy told him the whole story, right? And the barman said, well, thank God you come back to explain. He said, everybody in the village is being baffled, he said. We've had everybody around here. We've had the police special branch, the CID. Everybody's been around here, he said. They went through that poor bloke's belongings. They found his passport and his visa, all his personal papers, he said. He was a Scot. And he'd come all the way from the very north of Inverness, he said. And no one could understand how we could drive over 640 miles, he said, with 2 glass eyes. And that... no, it's not. Okay, we're going to sing a little song now. This is a little song that tells of the hiraeth a young man feels for his hometown and of the longing. And it's a lovely, lovely song called simply Swansea Town. I'm going home to Swansea Town. The day is nearly dawn. I'm going home to the seaport sound. One lovely sea down on. I'm going home to Swansea Town, where the waves are brown, neath the sea town sky, where seagulls cry, where as a boy I rambled. I'm going home to Swansea Town. The day is nearly dawn. I'm going home to the seaport sound. one lovely sweetheart morning. Let others search the whole world over. I'm going home once more, and she'll be waiting there for me. She'll be glad to see me, and I'll not leave again. The fortune won't persuade me, for I'm going home to Swansea town. The day is nearly dawning. I'm going home to the seaport sun. One lovely sweetheart morning. One lovely sweetheart morning. One lovely sweetheart morning. Lots of people, because, you know, when I walk, Yorkshire's very sporting orientated, and lots of people, when I was walking the streets, lots of people asking me, what was my greatest sporting moment, or my most memorable rugby match, and it was this game, right, and it's a local derby when you lads are playing, you know, whatever, your local, who's your local derby, Halifax or somewhere, or you know, Dewsbury, or whatever, right, well, we were playing this local derby, right, and 10 minutes into the game, we had a penalty, right, and our full-back, Gareth Morgan, stood up to take the kick, and he struck it well, but the wind took it, right, and it struck the upright. And he bounded back into play and he said, oh, bloody hell. The referee from Bangor in North Wales. The Reverend Goronwy Roberts came over and said, there is no need to swear. Oh, sorry, Mr. Roberts, it's such bad luck, you know, the wind, it's such bad luck. I won't do it again. 10 minutes later, we had another penalty. This time Gareth allowed for the wind. Damn, the wind changed. And it struck the other upright. And it bounded back into play, and he said with increasing anger, oh, bloody hell. The Reverend Goronwy Roberts came over. And he said, I've told you the once. Stinisher Heggy. There is no need to swear. If you feel the sap of anger rising, just pause for a minute and say, help me, Lord. And that moment of anger surely will pass. We were losing 13-12 with a minute to go. We had a penalty smack in front of the posts. And with great deliberation, Gareth made his mark. It was in January. And he ran up and down, he sliced it. And it went careering towards the corner flag about 2 foot off the ground. And he was about to say, oh! And then he remembered. And he said, help me, Lord. And the skies darkened. Climbed towards the post and went over, and the Reverend Goronwy Roberts said, bloody hell! No hot moon. All that happened when I was a child, and I'm going to take you back now for a little while the band are having a little break, and I'm going to take you back, right? Back to, because when I was here, I met a lot of children last time, and I went to their schools, and it brought so much memories back of school for me. And I tell you what I'm going to do for a little while. I want you to drift back with me, back to your childhood. Come on, let's drift back through the mists of time. Come on, back to your come on, close your eyes. Come on, nobody will see you. Come on. Come on, let's drift back to you better start drifting now, love. You've got a long way to go. Anyway, let's... You can stop knitting as well. Anyway, let's... But do you remember what it was like in school, lads? I was hopeless in school, right? I remember the first day of school I went, right? My first day in school, I didn't know I was going. If I knew I was going, I wouldn't have gone. And my mother took me down past the railings to the school, right? And we came to the school gates, and in I went. I said, Mommy, where you going? Mommy, don't leave me. Mommy, how long will I have to be in school for? Until you're 15. I said, you won't forget to come and fetch me, will you, Mommy? And the thing I hated most about school was the exams. Do you remember the school hall when you sat 11 plus and the clock at the back of the hall? And there they'd be, remember the swats? Remember the swats? There they'd be, after about 10 minutes, Sir, can I have some more paper, sir? I hadn't written my bloody name then. And swats, they all looked the same, didn't they? They all had pimples and glasses. And they played on the wing with new boots on. And do you remember, you'd be sat there, right, and you were all crib notes, remember, all formal written in the back of your hands, and you were sweating with nerves, and all the ink had run. But the worst part of me, right, it wasn't so much in the exam, it was outside afterwards, right? Remember, the dreaded moment when you checked the answers. Remember, you'd written the answers down on the side of your exam paper, and they'd be checked. Hey, Di, in maths, hey, Di, what do you get for number 2? 1.87 centimetres. What do you get, Rick? 1.88 centimetres. What do you get, Ari? 1.89 centimetres. What do you get, Max? I'm not saying. I think mine's out a bit. And the question was to find the diameter of this copper tube. And they say, come on, what do you get the answer? I said, I'm not saying, I don't have to say. Mine's different. And they said, well, perhaps you were right and we are wrong. I said, I don't think so. He said, what do you get the diameter of the tube? I said, 17.5 miles. He used to do the easiest question first, and we ended up with a stupid answer. Mind you, they were stupid questions. You know the stupid things they used to ask you in ratios? Do you remember ratios? I couldn't spell them, alone do them. Remember in ratios? If Jack. It was always Jack, wasn't it? I hated Jack. Every exam I ever sat and opened the paper and there he'd be. Hello, Jack. If he wasn't paper in some bedroom. He was always papering, wasn't he? And he had always rolls left over. I was glad he had rolls left over. He was papering his room and I was in Form 1. And he had rolls left over there as well. What a dick. But anyway, the minute I start saying this in ratios, you'll remember it, right? As soon as I start, right? A bath. I never got it right, did you? Remember those questions? A bath? A bath holds 50 gallons of water. With the both taps full on. The bath fills at the rate of 3.5 gallons a minute. With the plug out, it empties at the rate of 2.5 gallons a minute. Question? How long does it take to fill the bath? I wrote underneath a damn sight quicker if you hadn't taken the plug out. Same thing in history. They ask you, where's in history? Where's Adrian's wall? I put down behind Adrian's house, and I had it wrong, and I know Adrian, he's my friend. And the other thing I didn't used to like in school was biology. Mind you, I learnt most of my biology behind the bike shed. With this girl called Muriel Pew. She used to say to me, come behind the bike shed. I said, I haven't got a bike. She said to me, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. I didn't know what she meant. Anyway, I borrowed a bike and I showed her. She said she'd never seen one with a drop of handlebars before. Of course, the real biology lessons were in the classroom, right? I remember we had to, through microscopes, we had to look at those tiny organisms, right? I'm gonna mention a word now you haven't heard it since you were small in school. Do you remember? Amoebas. I haven't seen any since, have you? I didn't see one then. But I said I did. I remember then we had to cut open the bull's eye to find like the retina and the aqueous humour and the lens. And I couldn't do it. Sir, I can't do it, sir. Why, boss? Sir, he's looking at me, sir. And Billy Williams is behind me. Right, Max, he said, I'll clap. He said, when he blinks, stick it in him. Some of the things Billy's done, right? We were in the Boy Scouts together, and he used to make me run after all the little girl guys in their short blue skirts and sting them all with stingy nettles. And he had all the dock leaves. They didn't understand that in Surrey. But he's a great... I've known him all my life, right? We used to play together when we were small. And one day we were playing in his house, right? And we were upstairs playing cowboys and Indians, right? And we went past his sister's room, and his sister's about 19, pretty girl, right? And we passed her bedroom, and the door was open, and there she was in front of the mirror in this, like, negligee, right? And she was like this, oh, God. Oh, I want a man. Oh, my God, I want a man. Oh, I want a man. Oh, God, I want a man. 3 days later, we saw her in bed with this bloke, right? So next morning, there was Billy in front of the mirror. I want a bike. Hey, how many of you saw that program I did a while ago now, when they sent me out to America, right, to play American football, with all the padding and the helmets? Did you see that program? Yeah. Hey, I gave them some stick, didn't I? No, they sent me out to play for the... I reckon I've seen him on television. Yes, for interference. There's always one, isn't there? They sent me out to play American football, right? And Dallas Cowboys, America's team. And they'd been told I was the biggest thing in British rugby. And when I got there, this coach was waiting, and he saw me, and he said, "You're kind of small, ain't you?" I said, "I am doing very well," I said, you know. And he got me all kitted out, and he said, and they had me marking this guy, right, called Ed Too Tall Jones. True, he was a middle linebacker. The biggest black man, big black man. He stood about just under 7 foot. He did, right, 6'11". Biggest black man, or biggest any colour man I'd ever seen, right? And they had me marking this guy, right, for 6 weeks. And the coach said to me, "Okay, number 10, you can take him. I want you to hit him in the numbers." I couldn't reach him, you know. "I want you to haul his ass." What I do. But after one training session, we were in the showers together. Now, well, you couldn't help looking, you know, and it was like a salami. No, this... Hey, there's a very posh woman in the 3rd row there trying not to laugh, you know. And the teeth have come out. No, this... Hey, the same thing happened, right, when Glamorgan were playing Somerset, and I went into the wrong changing room, and Joel Garner, the big black fast opening bowler, was changing, right? I thought he was putting a new handle on his butt. It wouldn't have been so bad. We'd ask him, "Can I have a lend of it?" I said, "I've lost mine." So I asked Too Tall in the showers, I said, "Has it always been like that?" He said, "No, I had to work on it." I said, "Where did you get the scarf?" I said, "What?" He said, "All you need," he said, "is a short piece of string and a brick." So I got some string and a brick, and I went away. And he rang me up 6 weeks later. He said, "How you doing there, boy?" I said, "I'm all right, Dad." I said, "But I'm a bit drawn." I said, "But I'm all right." He said, "Did you do what I said?" I said, "Yeah, I did what you said." He said, "Did it work?" I said, "Well, sort of." He said, "What do you mean, sort of?" I said, "It's gone black." Okay, well, it's been magic. This is a little song which tells of back in, as I said, the heady days of the 70s. It's a song called Hymns and Arias, which I hope some of you know anyway. It tells of a typical rugby trip to Twickenham by our lads. And we'll be back, don't you worry, we shall return. We paid our weekly shilling for that January trip. A long weekend in London, I without a bit of kip. There's a seat reserved for beer by the boys from Abercan. There's beer, pontoon, crisps and fags, and a croaking Calon Lan. And we were sitting on Bradford, in and to twickers early and were jostled in the crowd. I'll never forget, right? I had all in my pocket, right? And this pickpocket came. And I wanted to shout, right, but Wales were taking a penalty. No greater love hath any man. We got to Twickers early and were jostled in the crowd. Planted leaks and dragons looked for toilets all around. So many there we couldn't budge, twisted legs and pale. I'm ashamed we used a bottle that once held bitter ale. But we were singing hymns and arias, and all my fathers are heathens. Wales defeated England. This was a long time ago, and this, in a fast and open game, we sang Cwmr Honda and Delilah. Damn, they sounded both the same. We sympathized with an English friend whose team was doomed to fail. So we gave him that old bottle. Heard it before, though. That once held bitter ale, and he started singing hymns and on your own land, right on your own, Bradford. So it's down to Soho for the night, to the girls with the shiny beads, to the funny men with lipstick on, with evil minds and deeds. One said to Will from a doughy dark, damn, she didn't have much on, but Will knew what she wanted, his photo of Barry John, 'cause they were singing hymns and arias, and and again, Bradford, let's go! Good night and God bless. And all my fathers are heed no. We'll be back, mark my word. Yes, Bradford.
Ladies and gentlemen, Max Boyce.
Okay, God, let's go! Okay, let's go! My Mary and Betty Fever, David and Watson and Famine and the Creed and Leo, and God will stop for Doggy Bar. Suspect back and Berry at the time, Osman Bower and Berry are a tower. You'll be magic, Bradford. Good night and God bless. Our God, very strong.
your families.
Good night, and thanks.